Good afternoon. Sorry to interrupt your lunch. My name is Juan Sepulveda. I'm a Senior Vice President at PBS for Station Services. I wanted to welcome you to the 2017 Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence Award Ceremony held here at the beautiful Knight Conference Center at the museum. Isn't this an incredible view? I wanted to say congratulations to everyone for surviving Winter Storm Stella. And for all my friends from Texas and California, let's see your hands. That's snow, okay? The first thing I wanted you to do is to get your phones out. I took a picture of this right here that lists all the different colleges, and I just put in here, honored to be serving as MC for the 2017 Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence. This is the most important thing. You need to put next to that, hashtag Aspen Prize. I saw all of you taking pictures ahead of time, so I know you got some pictures of your teams up here of the different pieces, so please help us put it out. I'm just about to put it out, so please join us throughout the event with the hashtag Aspen Prize. I'm also happy to be here again. This is the second time both serving as the host of the event, but my second time on the jury as a prize jury member. And today what we're really going to do is get a chance to hear from just the incredible things that you all are doing for our students across the country, for the 10 finalist colleges who are here today, and ultimately the winner of the Aspen Prize. As a prize jury member, I think all of us who feel so lucky to be on that selection committee, tough, hard conversations, but probably the best thing that we love about this is getting a chance to see about what we're learning across the country from all of you, seeing what you're doing to make sure more of our students are graduating, making sure that those who are getting ready to go to work and getting those jobs after they graduate, and in particular, really helping students of color and low-income students who are trying to get through their situations, their tough, limited choices to high levels of success. And so, in addition to what you all are doing for our students, there's a reason why you all are called community colleges. It's the incredible work that you're doing in our communities. I'm a little biased, about seeing what you guys are doing there to kind of help the conversations take place in your communities around some of those tough issues. Some of you actually have PBS television stations and NPR radio stations that are on your campuses. Those of you who are kind of working to kind of take on the tough issues for the community through civic engagement as your students are getting connected to incredible projects, whether it's Habitat for Humanity, tutoring with K through 12 students, and a million other kinds of projects. We know that when it comes to community economic development, the work that you are doing there hand in hand with our local businesses and the businesses in the region to make sure that we are bringing new businesses to the region and most importantly, getting our young folks connected to those jobs. And making sure for those students who maybe haven't finished high school, or some of those of our adults who are facing really tough transitions in their life as they're trying to move on to new jobs, that you're there to kind of be with them side by side to make sure they get a chance to complete high school, to learn English, to bring on those new skills to help them as they move forward as well. So as someone who gets to do this as my day job, right? I tell people my job is to strengthen the P in PBS and to get our communities more connected to their stations. I just can't tell you how appreciative I am of all the work that you are doing for our country. So to help us get started today with the rest of our program, let me bring up Josh Weiner, the founder and the leader of the Aspen College Program. You all need to know that under Josh's leadership, the College Excellence Program has grown since it started in 2011 to become one of the 2 largest programs out of over 30 at the Aspen Institute. And for those of you who know about the Aspen Institute, that's a big deal. What I also like to say is, Josh, if you've seen his book, What Excellent Community Colleges Do, Preparing All Students for Success, he's my version from the PBS side. He is your version of the community college storyteller, going across the country, making sure people are understanding and hearing your stories of the great success that you are doing. He's an incredible, tireless advocate for us and for our students. We're so lucky to have him here as our leader. Let me bring Josh up to the stage right now. Josh.
So we were a little worried, yesterday. Now, of course, it's beautiful out, but this is Washington, D.C., where I grew up and where, I didn't have to wish too hard when there was an inkling of snow for school to be closed. So thank you all for being here. It's so great to see so many partners in this work here today. and I count among them our funders. Now, our planning, next year we're going to have the list of funders at the top here of the list, so I'm going to linger on this just a little bit longer. Our funders for the prize in this cycle are the Joyce Foundation, Siemens Foundation, Kresge Foundation, and Pearson Education. And I want to note that what's remarkable about this partnership is that all of those entities deeply care about community colleges and students, and it comes through in the partnership. The kind of partnership where we have conversations early on with the Joyce Foundation, who in fact initiated this. In the very first cycle of the prize, we were really struggling to get good labor market data. And they said, you're getting labor market data. Because there were no national labor market data, but they said, this is too important. And so we found a way to get state level data. But it was a conversation, and that really is an indication with all of our funding partners that this is not about funding something to look good. This is about the essence of the work. This is because community colleges are essential to the future of the country. What we do is not a sideline of American higher education. What community colleges do will determine the success of regional economies, and it will determine the success of this experiment, where if people work hard, social mobility can really happen. And so I am greatly appreciative of our funders who understand that and the partnership we've developed in delivering this. The others who have been involved in this, no less important, are our analytic partners in this. As many of you may know, and I'll talk about later, this is a 16-month now process that is culminating here today. And we're really gathering the best data we possibly can across the country, qualitative and quantitative, to understand the success of students at your institutions and over 1,000 others. And to do that, we're under no illusion that we've got all the expertise. In fact, we've got the National Center for Higher Education Management Systems and a data panel that help us figure out what the formula should be about who applies for the prize. We've got the National Center for Inquiry and Improvement that has helped us with the protocol for our site visits, and 6 expert site visitors, former presidents and researchers. So I want to thank everybody who played a role. The data panel, the selection panel that selected the 10 finalists, and we'll get to the prize jury later. We cannot do this work without all of these partners. I'd also like to thank the entire Aspen College Excellence Program team who are here today, and especially 5 individuals who have really gotten us here today. Jingle Lee, who many of you may have met, who has an expanding family, but is here actually with us today. She left a couple of months ago, but did terrific work in the run-up to this. Sarah Zahner, Tiffany Yoon, Karthik Lakavan, and Chelsea Howard. Can you all please stand up? These are the folks who did the work that matters here today. 2 other people deserve mention. My wife is a nurse practitioner in free clinics, and when I come home after a day of feeling energized by all the work you're doing and occasional challenges, I am reminded of the frontline work that folks like she are doing around the country to try to help those who are least fortunate, like all of you are doing. She's on the front lines of healthcare, and because today is a snow day, she has a chance to join us here, so I just want to recognize my wife, Beth Parkinson. And then finally, once you've won the Aspen Prize, you can't come back. You can't win again. But you can come back. And the president of the sitting president of the incumbent prize-winning college, Santa Fe, Jackson Sasser, has joined us here today. So just a couple of thoughts. Every couple of years I go around to a lot of community colleges, and 2 things have struck me in this cycle of the Aspen Prize and in all of the other work we're doing with community colleges. First, I think the notion of comprehensive whole school reform is really taking hold. This is a really important point, I think. This iteration of the community college reform movement, thanks to Achieving the Dream and others, is about 15 years old, roughly. And in the early stages, we looked at the pipeline of community college students, and we said, where can we fix that pipeline? Where are students struggling the most? And so naturally, we found that developmental education really mattered, right? I mean, who's least likely to make it through are the students who start in, with remedial needs, the students who are underprepared. So we did a huge amount of work on developmental education, and it matters. Just to be clear, lots of you are engaged in that work, and more students are moving to credit-bearing courses. We also realized that students were struggling financially, so we created new kinds of financial supports for them, and academically. And we created new kinds of tutoring for students, new kinds of student success courses when they entered. And while every one of those discrete interventions mattered, unfortunately, we didn't make progress in degree completion and in employment after college. And so what I think is taking hold, what's so exciting now, is that colleges are now asking themselves the question, how do we stitch all of this together? How do we think about student success holistically and connect all of these interventions into whole school reform? They're asking, are our degree programs clear enough? Maybe it's not about adding new systems, but rethinking our fundamental systems. Are the degree programs clear enough? Is our advising helping students get on a pathway, through a pathway, and all the way to completion? And thinking about all of the work that's been done a little more holistically. And that movement that we're seeing in more and more places has been referred to as guided pathways in some iterations. But frankly, there are schools here who have been doing it long before the guided pathways movement. But I think it's now taking hold, and this is really exciting. The Aspen Institute College Excellence Program is part of a group of 6 organizations that is helping to run some Guided Pathways Institute some of you are part of, that's being run by the American Association of Community Colleges. Is Walter here? Did he make it down today? Walter Bumpus has joined us. And I just want to thank Walter for his leadership in helping to bring these ideas together through that. Thank you. The second development that has struck me in the work that we're doing is that I think the definition of community college success is fundamentally changing. For the past 10 to 15 years, we've thought a lot about community college success as completion or graduation. In fact, if you go into any college and you say, can I see your student success plan? What you'll see is a plan that's going to get students from the beginning through to graduation. That, again, it really matters. It really matters. Once access was enough in many places, we are now have moved, I think, in most institutions to a notion that access without completion is inadequate. But the field is coming to realize that that, too, may not be enough. And there are several reasons for that growing realization. I think the first is that community college students come to us often not to earn an associate's degree or a certificate, but a bachelor's degree. 80% of students surveyed have said that they want a bachelor's degree. And most of our colleges, there are some in Florida and some other places that offer a limited number of bachelor's degrees, but bottom line is we can't deliver those alone. We have to define our success not just as the completion of an associate's, but completion of a bachelor's. The reality is that far too students, while 80% say they want a bachelor's, under 20% get one of those students who enter community college. So when we think about the definition of student success, even completion, we need to maybe rethink. The second is that reason that completion may not be enough is that the other place that our students go is directly into the workforce. And there are a lot of regions in the country where there are jobs going begging. I recently heard that we're near full employment. Now there's a lot of low-wage work, and we've got to make sure our students are being connected to jobs with family-sustaining wages. But if we're going to connect them to those jobs, we've got to make sure that we're thinking about completion with a degree of value. And that degree needs to be connected to where the jobs are in our regional economies. So graphic designers, computer programmers, healthcare workers, we know that there are needs there. And the great thing is that Aspen Prize finalists are showing the way. You all are showing the way towards a transfer success and bachelor's attainment and good jobs. I think the final thing that we've all got to be really cognizant of, and all of you are, and it really struck me in my tour around your schools, is that this notion of social mobility and equity will require us to look beyond our walls. The reality is that who gets access to which programs of study and who gets access in our society to which jobs is still dependent on race and income and ethnicity in ways that, whether you believe that's fundamentally not just, or whether you believe that our economy can't thrive with the growing numbers of those students who are in our institutions, we've got to resolve that problem. And again there, by looking at post-graduation success, looking at what comes next, we can fulfill the notion in our country that hard work, rather than some predetermined part of who you are, hard work can connect you to great opportunity. So I want to thank all of you for teaching us how, under this new definition of excellence, we can achieve much greater levels of student success. We're placing a big bet that the future leaders of our country, future leaders of the community colleges are going to play a big part in that. We're working with Stanford University and Achieving the Dream on leadership development programs, started conversations with AACC as well. We think that the leadership of your institutions, and we see teams here today, that kind of leadership is going to be needed to deliver against this new definition. So I want to thank all of you because you've taught us that students can succeed at high levels. They can succeed at high levels at your institutions. They can succeed at high levels when they go on to get a bachelor's degree and in the workforce. And really, all students can succeed at high levels. And so today, we're celebrating the 10 finalist institutions, the winner of the Aspen Prize. But really what we're celebrating is student success and the opportunity that all of you are providing for students throughout the country to connect to better lives, lives that are going to matter in their communities, in their jobs, for their families. Thank you for all you're doing.
Thanks, Josh, and thanks for your leadership. It's now my privilege to introduce Ellen Alberding, the president of the Joyce Foundation. Ellen oversees the charitable distribution of $45 million annually from assets of $930 million. Under her leadership, Joyce has gained national prominence with a grant portfolio rooted in the core belief that communities are stronger when they share benefits broadly. Since the prize was founded in 2010, Joyce has been the leading funding partner for the prize. And as Josh mentioned, and as some of you may know, the idea for the Aspen Prize originated with the Joyce Foundation following a White House meeting on incentive prizes and innovation. So imagine you're like one of 30 to 40 people. Talk about pressure. You're at the White House, and they kind of tell you, oh, by the way, we need you to come up with some new and innovative ideas. And Ellen did, and the result is the Aspen Prize. So let's all join me in welcoming Ellen to the stage.
I'm really honored to be here in such great company and to be able to represent the other funders of the prize. I want to acknowledge Siemens, Pearson, and Kresge and really appreciate their ongoing support and hope they'll continue supporting. As Juan mentioned, you might wonder, why would a foundation based in Chicago be sponsoring a nationwide prize like this? And I just wanted to give you a little context that we haven't really talked that much about. But at the time, in '08, we were looking at all sorts of prize concepts, and we're really interested in whether prizes could be used in the social sector in the way that has been used, for example, in the sciences and technology, the X Prize and those kinds of things that people are very familiar with. So really this was an experiment in thinking about, could prizes be used to generate and stimulate change in a sector of in a social sector that was important to us and important to other folks. So frankly, we went through a lot of different ideas, most of which had nothing to do with community colleges, I will say. We were looking at the FDA for ideas and lots of opportunities in the federal government at the time. When we finally identified community colleges, the reason that we thought this was a great idea was because we saw that there was data, so you could collect data and understand who was doing what. We saw that there was tremendous leadership in the community college sector already, and we saw that the impact, if we could lift the entire sector, could have a tremendous impact on a whole community of people in the country that really mattered deeply to us and mattered deeply to the success of our society. So without going into too much detail on that, it was a really exciting process because not only did we have to persuade ourselves and our board, we had to persuade folks in the White House, we had to persuade folks in the field, we had to persuade Aspen that it was worth taking a chance on, and we had to persuade other funders because we have some money, but we're not as big as some foundations. So there was a lot of persuading that went on, and I feel now very secure in saying that the prize has been a tremendous success if you think about what our long-term goal was, because I think that the recognition that the prize has for being thoughtful, fair, data-driven, and focused on the right things has gathered the attention of the entire field. And in large part, I want to thank Aspen for taking it on, but also acknowledge that this would never have happened if we didn't have the leadership of Josh Weiner. Josh has been the driver. He has been the guy with the access to the data and the desire to analyze it. The fairness, I think, that he approaches the prize process is widely regarded and contributes to its success. I'm completely off topic here, by the way, so if you see people freaking out that I'm not reading my notes, sorry. But I just felt like that was important to understand, like, why would a funder do this? And it's certainly not for recognition, since I appear to be behind the stage right chair. I also wanted to make another comment. We know that community colleges are so important to lots and lots of types of people. We've got new immigrants coming into our country who are seeking just to develop their language skills and other skills to get a job. We have people switching careers or being laid off that are trying to learn a new set of skills. And you have young people who, for geographic or financial reasons, don't have access to a 4-year college or university, among others. And you even have people like me who attended community college right out of high school for a whole different set of reasons. And I bring that up only because I want to say that it was a long time ago, but my single memory of being at Rockland Community College was how unbelievably talented the teachers were. The people in the classroom just generated a whole level of engagement on my part at a time when I was just like, not so engaged in my academics. So I think that's an important thing that all my notes talk about institutions, but institutions are made of people. And the people that are doing the work at the excellent level of everybody in this room deserve the acknowledgement and deserve all the credit for the success that your institutions are having. So it's not so much an institution, but it's a set of individuals who have a shared mission, a shared understanding of what has worked in the past, and a shared willingness to try new things so that the folks in your organizations and in your institutions achieve success. They complete and they get good jobs afterwards, or they go on to 4-year colleges. And those are, fundamentally the measures of the Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence. So now I've said basically nothing that Aspen wanted me to say, but I hope you guys are okay with that. We're going to hear from some students today who I think will reinforce the message that I'm trying to put forward, and also that you all really understand in your hearts. And I'm really excited to hear those folks. I'm turning over the mic now to my good colleague, Crystal Bridgman, who represents Siemens. Crystal worked on the Hill, which is where she and I first met. She worked on the Senate side and was one of the participants in our conversations and our efforts to support bipartisan cooperation on community college and workforce issues in general. She was a pleasure to work with then, and one of the meetings I remember attending with her was visiting a Siemens facility, I think it was in North Carolina, where I really began to understand on a whole new level what apprenticeships were all about, because they were featuring the work of a young woman whose name, I think, unless they weren't telling us the truth, her name was Hope. She was pretty fabulous. And now Crystal is a very senior person at Siemens in charge of their workforce funding, and a wonderful colleague. So Siemens, Crystal, if you could join me at the podium, appreciate it. Thanks all very much.
you all for joining me. We appreciate you braving the weather, both in terms of flights as well as coming out today. It's exciting to be with you all and to be joined by the panel here today. And I just want to particularly thank Aspen for all the hard work they've done, as well as Joyce and the other funders are here for their support and partnership in this effort in promoting community college excellence. We think that it is a critical aspect of developing the skilled workforce we all need for tomorrow. And so, before we get started, for those of you that aren't familiar with the work at the Siemens Foundation, we're all about STEM, and we're all about young adults. But several years ago, we really noticed this big gap that was happening in the STEM field around technical careers in particular. Those jobs that required more than the high school diploma but less than a bachelor's degree, typically a 2-year degree or an industry certification. And so we teamed up with Aspen in 2015 to not only support the prize, but to develop a new program that we call Siemens Technical Scholars. And the purpose of this program, and many of you may have seen some of the boards outside when you were coming in featuring some of our scholars this year, as well as the fantastic video that Aspen and their colleagues at Burness helped us to produce, was really to feature outstanding students like Chelsea Hartshorn, who you're going to hear from in just a little bit, and to tell their story so that they could really help attract other young adults and help them understand about the economic opportunity available in these programs. But we also had another purpose, and that purpose is really going to be demonstrated for us here with Dr. Kevin Cooper, who's going to talk about what it means to be part of and leading an outstanding, excellent STEM 2-year program at community colleges. And we really wanted to put a highlight on those so that we could identify them, so that students would know where to go and know where to pursue these types of educational journeys. And so I couldn't be prouder to be joined by these two here on the stage. You're going to learn very shortly that they're both very dynamic individuals with pretty amazing stories of their own about the work they're doing in their own communities. So let me just give a brief introduction there, and then we're going to turn and have just a small conversation amongst the three of us that'll hopefully give us some airtime to get their stories out to you all. So Dr. Kevin Cooper is the Dean of Advanced Technology at the Indian River State College, Florida. So thanks in particular for braving this weather out here today. In this role, Dr. Cooper is responsible for the college's engineering, cybersecurity, digital media, manufacturing programs, among others. He also spearheads the college's economic development efforts. In addition to his work at Indian River, he holds over 25 patents and has written publications in various advanced technology fields, from green manufacturing to nanotechnology. Chelsea Hartshorn, did I get that right?
Yes.
We just had some pre-conversations about that. Is a student in the electrical trades program at Central New Mexico Community College. She's the president of an organization that helps female students pursue careers in technology and in the trades. She's helped wire a home for Habitat for Humanity, and she ran a basic wiring class for the local chapter of Girl Scouts, all while maintaining a 4.0 and raising 2 young boys into outstanding men. And she's also recently started an initiative with a local women's shelter and helping them be exposed to the electrical trades careers so that they too can get access to these careers. So Chelsea's a real example for us in many ways. And Chelsea, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
If that's okay. To get us started, I think that we'd all love just to hear more about your particular journey. So what led you to this program and to your college? What helped you make this choice?
Well, like you said, I am a single mom, so it was really important for me to provide my children with a really good life. I decided to go back to school because the wages that I was earning, I didn't feel was enough to provide them with the kind of life that I felt like they deserved. I chose CNM because they're a pillar in our community where I come from. CNM is for Central New Mexico Community College, I'm sorry.
You're in the world of acronyms here in DC. Don't worry about that.
So I chose CNM because they have good programs at prices that I could afford. I was interested in several programs. I really became interested when I saw the electrical trades and that they had a program that was for solar. I think that solar is going to be the future, and I want to be a part of green energy.
It's so exciting. I think that, we talked a little bit too last night about your passion, not only for the work you're doing in the electrical field, but around this green energy work and really seeing this opportunity in solar and renewables. Talk to us a little bit about what gives you a passion for that, even beyond the career work you're doing. What is it about the solar work and the electrical trades that really has given you this vision for your future work?
I think that it's important for my children to have a planet that is going to be sustainable in the future. That's something that has made me more interested in it. I believe that the country should move towards that.
And she's raising two little boys that are going to be outstanding young men with a mom like this to look up to.
Thank you.
And as we talked a little bit earlier in your introduction, you're a student leader and a student advocate on your campus, so going far beyond the classroom experience. Can you tell us a little bit about the organization you work with that really promotes other females in the electrical trades, and then the other kind of community projects you're working in? I'm sure everyone here would be interested in learning more.
Yes, I am the president of a student group called Women Advancing in Technology and Trades, or WAT. Our focus is to inspire women to reach for goals, whatever those may be, but also encourage them to reach out for STEM jobs. We have been lucky to work with a local Girl Scout chapter, like you said. It was amazing. They're fearless people. I think we could all take a page from their book in that sense. I wish I was just as fearless as they are. We taught them basic hand tool use, how to bend conduit. We used hand benders and a hydraulic bender, which was amazing to see such young girls bending on a Greenlee hydraulic bender. It was pretty amazing. We also taught them some basic wiring skills. I'm extremely proud of the work that I get to do with WAT, but I'm also very proud of the work that our college allows us to do with Habitat for Humanity. Central New Mexico Community College has had a partnership with Habitat for Humanity for over 10 years. So it feels really good as a student to be able to give back to the community that we live in, and also get the hands-on work that we need to further our careers.
And you have a faculty mentor here with you that's helped guide your journey, right?
Yes, I do.
And so you've had this kind of mentor relationship, and now you're offering that back to your students. Tell me a little bit about what that's been like for you. What kind of what has that meant to you to have that level of advice and guidance? It's been
an incredible honor to have someone like Denise Ojeda as someone to guide me through this.
This is Denise, by the way. She's probably not going to acknowledge herself.
She's been incredible every step of the way. I think that she's an incredible instructor because not only does she get us ready for the technical skills and the knowledge that we're going to need, but also as human beings, we work a lot on punctuality and respect for others and how to just get the job done.
And tell us a little bit about what you're going to do once school's done. What are you thinking about that you want to pursue once you get this degree? What's next?
Once I finish school, I'm going to start looking for an apprenticeship in the electrical field. I'd like to become a journeyman electrician, and I would like to open my own business that's focused in green energy, or get on with a business that's focus is in green energy.
Oh, that's terrific. We're excited about that. And then, Kevin, really wanted to kind of get your thoughts about the work you're doing at Indian River. You're doing a lot of work to support students like Chelsea through completion of their programs. Could you tell us a little bit more about your role there and what your philosophy is in terms of helping students as they prepare for their careers?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here. Thanks to the Aspen, and congratulations to everyone in the room, including you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Your story's incredible.
Thank you.
So you said about career pathing, how do you prepare your students? My opinion, my perception is a little different. I was university educated. I went to a large Fortune 500 company. I worked as an engineer to a hiring manager. And then I ran a small business for years. And I never once stepped foot on a community college campus or a state college. I had, like a lot of people, a bad misconception about what it was. And so now that I'm there and was afforded an opportunity at Indian River State College, I see it totally, totally differently. So my role is to talk to industry, talk to academia, talk to economic development, as you were saying before, and get them to change their misconception. And I think my personal opinion is universities are very good at scientific challenges or advancing science. Community colleges are the best in the world at advancing real world problems, whether that's a workforce problem, an economic problem, an industry problem. We do it fast, we do it flexible, we do it from top down, so we do it very well. So if I can bring industry to the college, show them our phenomenal facilities, show them our students, show them how much our faculty care, then I win. Every single time they say, I never realized this existed. That's the point when I know I have them. And what Josh was saying at the beginning is so true. Once they deeply care, they're invested in the program for the rest of their life. And so I think students are super smart about career pathing if they know there's careers at the end of the way. And if everyone in the room thought about their nursing programs or teaching programs, the electronics programs, those have huge industry partnerships that the career path is easy. Once you have that job at the end and the involvement where you know what the students learn and matches, then it's easy. So I think kind of do it in reverse. I kind of do the industry and everything else, and then the career pathing is very easy.
Well, we appreciate your passion on this issue. For those, Kevin and I just met last night, and it was very clear to me within 5 minutes how passionate he was about the work that he's doing. And I think that really carries over into the relationships that you're clearly building with employers to give you that feedback loop. And I think that, given the amazing outcomes you're seeing for your students, particularly in the employment area, as well as so many of the peer colleges who are here and succeeding in that, what is it about your work in building those relationships with employers that you think make that successful and set that apart from maybe some of your peers?
I think it's very important to realize, and especially for the senior administration in this room, that it takes a heck of a lot of effort to build and maintain those partnerships. In Chelsea's program, specifically at our college, in the last 8 years, we've gone through 6 general managers at the nuclear power station, which we train for. And every single time we meet a new one, he says, what is Indian River? What is the electric power program? And it's starting over, day one, starting over. And so it's a lot of effort. And then once you build that relationship, you have to make sure it's a dual-sided commitment. We're no longer in the game where we train. It has to be a true commitment from industry. They have to commit to helping teaching and to bring and strengthening the soft skills and in strengthening everything along the way, so that you have, and then hiring them at the end, so you have a path. And from the student side, the student has to be committed to not only learning what they're there to learn, but learning the soft skills. And that's where we really embed industry. Every single semester, we embed industry to come into the classroom and teach those soft skills on a repeated basis, those 5 touch points over 2 years, so that at the end, they come out understanding both the technical and the soft skills. And my opinion is, from meeting with hundreds of industries, it's never the technical skills. It's always the soft skills that they're saying you need. And based on the fields, electric power, they want reliability, dependability, but cybersecurity wants self-taught, and digital media wants people that stay on project management. So you have to really understand what the industry skills are and make sure you embed that all along the way to get that career.
And having the background that you do, both at kind of the larger businesses as well as a small business, you can understand where the employers are coming from often in that conversation, and the hat you wear with economic development initiatives as well must give you a unique perspective in that work. I'm curious, is there, we talked about in your introduction earlier, your responsibilities at Indian River are large and wide in terms of the work that you're doing there. Is there one particular program that you might be most proud of that you could share a little bit more about with us?
I'm going to be greedy and tell you 2 real fast.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
So the first one is, under me, we run the digital media programs, and this is really what I consider best practice. We've really paired it with economic development. So starting the very first semester, every student has, in at least one class, a capstone project. And it's starting small bites, and it's paired with industry, so they learn to succeed and also to fail fast. And over the course of 2 years, it builds up every time a little bit more complex, and they learn how to, advance to where they have a full portfolio at the end. And it's great because the students can see their work in practice. And for instance, they see their posters around town, or their stuff on packaging, or their videos on our TVs. But they also learn how to fail. And where they always fail in the digital media world is in the project management, the scope, schedule, budgeting. So you can have them say, hey, we said the scope was this, and you went with a totally different theme. Schedule's the biggest one. Younger generation, I guess it's a maturation process. Doesn't understand if it's due this day, it's due this day. But it's great in school to say, if you didn't turn it in this day, you would be fired. So, and no harm, no foul. And then budget's a hard one to teach, but if sometimes they produce the wrong thing, then it would be out of budget. So really building and giving them success points all along the way. And the other one that goes back to the social mobility that was discussed earlier was using data and looking at our power plant program. We noticed in about 8 years, even though we have a lot of large grants in the area, we've really never moved the baseline for African Americans in the program. So we really went back and looked at why. Why didn't we move African Americans into the electric industry across the nation? And the data showed they weren't ready for the math. And then we said, okay, but they came in the front door with mechanical aptitude. We do a lot of mechanical aptitude testing, but they weren't ready for the math. Why? Why weren't they ready for the math? And why is math a requirement? It wasn't a requirement, it turned out. It was just a legacy effect going back years. So instead of having college algebra embedded in the program, we embedded it in the classes. And then we enrolled a cohort of African Americans, 12 students. 3 of them had failed college algebra 3 times. The other ones weren't ready for it at all. And day 0, we went into the classroom with industry and we said, you may not even understand the words coming out of my mouth, but you need to know in the nuclear world, you need to know inverse square law. As you get away from radiation, it dies off. You need to know exponential decay. You don't know what those things mean, but by the end of 2 years to get this $70,000 job, you're gonna need to know what those things mean. And those students were engaged, and those students learned it. We figured out their style of math. We gave them tutoring on the topic. We stayed on them, and a year later, 11 of those 12 students had a B or better in every class, and they're set to graduate. So it's one of those, what you were talking about, social mobility. We really had to figure out, can you redesign programs, redesign math, embed it? It's an obstacle in our particular case for minority involvement. So.
Well, and let's be honest, it's about being willing as a leader to take the risk of pulling the veil back on a long-term program and asking the hard questions and being willing to make those changes, right? And for those of you that don't know, Indian River also has several Siemens technical scholars, including from last cycle, from the power plant program, doing tremendous work in terms of preparing the next generation of utility workers. And to see students and their parents' eyes light up when you share information like you can make $70,000 a year when you get done with this program with no college debt is a real game changer. And I think really kind of coming off of the discussion you had about preparing these students who may not have had the STEM skills walking in the door, but definitely had the ability and the interest. What is it that you're doing with Indian River in terms of preparing young people and educating them about STEM pathways and how they can build that into a career?
I'll be glad to answer that. By the way, that young lady who got the Siemens Scholarship is working at Oak Ridge in a research project now full time.
That's
So
terrific.
it's just cool.
Good to hear.
So what are we doing to prepare them? I wish we had more mentors like Chelsea here. And that's really what we do. We set the expectation on all our students, all industry partners to go out there. And, you know, it's funny in today's digital age, we have all this fancy advertisements, eyeball to eyeball. If you think about your programs across country, why they're successful, nursing, public safety, mom, dad, sister, brother went into it, they know about it. So what we try to do is put the expectation on all our students that they go out and become our ambassador. All our industry partners go out and be a mentor, which you can't find enough mentors. That's amazing. So, and that's what we do. And I'll finish with a little story on that topic. About 12 years ago, medical company, they install large-scale medical equipment called Emitronics, came to us, and this ties economic development to what we're trying to do here. And we helped design their program to train people to install medical equipment. The company grew from 2 to 200 people, thanks a little bit to our help. But in about 8 years ago, the owner's children, 2 children, were smart, had money, could go any place they wanted in the country. Their father wanted them to go to Indian River State College. They went to Indian River, and they graduated from Indian River with a 4-year degree. And they went back, and one is the director of HR now at her dad's company. And I kid you not, she sends me 3 people a semester, and that's what you're looking for. 3 people a semester. Kevin, can you meet with this young lady? Kevin, can you meet with this? And it's one by one by one where you do it. There's no great secret here. It's getting more and more ambassadors, and the multiplier goes up. But it's always on that one by one basis that you get it. And when you have ambassadors like that, you have partners that deeply care, you make a huge, huge difference in the long run.
Absolutely, and I think it's lessons like that that we've really benefited from in building Siemens Technical Scholars together in terms of making sure that we're getting stories like Chelsea's out to others so that, you know, really they can learn about those opportunities. Whether you've ever heard about being an electrician or not, you can understand it through her story. And so Chelsea, you know, to conclude our time together, we have a lot of college leaders here in this room, a lot of presidents. We have leaders in industry, leaders in government. someone who has been through this process, I just wonder what kind of advice would you share with them in terms of helping them make sure that their students succeed the way that you're succeeding in your program?
Well, it's something that I actually heard mentioned yesterday was focus on the students, give them access to the services that they need. At my college, they will do everything for you to give you an outfit to wear to an interview if you need that. They'll give you services to help your family find food if you need that. Those types of services are vital to people in New Mexico. I also believe that as I was saying earlier, like raising up the student in a way along with their studies to be the kind of person who is going to become employable. That's hugely important, I think, for colleges to do, because when some of these people are coming into our program at school, they're 18 years old and they have no experience in the workforce, and this will be their first real experience. Our instructors, particularly in my program, are raising basically a new generation of electricians to help dispel some of the stereotypes of people who do work in construction. Something that I'm really, really proud to be a part of and excited to be a part
We
of.
couldn't
Thank
have
you.
a better spokesperson for it, particularly for women, to attract them to the field. And for those of you who haven't had a chance to check out the Siemens Technical Scholars video in the lobby, please do so before you leave. You'll get to see Chelsea putting on some solar panels. So you'll get to see her in action. But please join me in thanking these two amazing panelists for joining us today.
Thanks again to Crystal, to Chelsea, and to Kevin for sharing their stories and for their success. It's now my honor to introduce Judy Marks. Judy Marks is the CEO of Siemens USA, a global powerhouse focusing on the areas of electrification, automation, and digitalization with 50,000 US employees and approximately 75 manufacturing sites. With a degree in electrical engineering, that's the impressive part. Always, we know the importance of STEM, and especially as a role model for our young women. Judy has held executive positions at Lockheed Martin and IBM. She's the chairman of the board of directors of the Siemens Foundation, which is a generous funder of the Aspen Prize, and also a partner with Aspen in the Siemens Technical Scholars Program. Please join me in welcoming Judy to the stage.
Well, thank you so much, Juan. It's an honor to be here. It's actually an honor to be part of the Siemens Foundation, but with that comes responsibility, as we all know in this room. So to the Aspen Institute, it's been a great partnership and one we see continuing into the future. It's together with the Aspen Institute and the Aspen team that we actually envision the Siemens Technical Scholars Program. So we owe a tremendous amount of gratitude to our partner, and because we created it together. So now we're making it successful together with people like Chelsea and with so many of our other students. Just so you know, we recently awarded 51 additional scholarships, totaling $200,000 to support our Siemens Technical Scholars. So thank you to the entire Aspen team. And Crystal, thank you for moderating that panel. We really appreciate your leadership. And we also, David Etzweiler, the CEO of our foundation, couldn't be with us today, but we thank him for his leadership as well. But we couldn't do it, Josh, without your vision and without your persistence. So keep on it. That's really important to us. And please, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today. Washington, D.C. is home for many of us. So we knew this snowmageddon wasn't really going to be as bad as everyone said about Stella. So that's why we're here, and just delighted you could all join us in the nation's capital to mark such a special event. You know, when I was growing up, I grew up outside of Philadelphia, and my family owned a small business. My father started as a clerk in a department store, and he worked his way up and eventually was one of the two owners of that store. And I was raised growing up in retail and growing up in this small department store. Retail was our reality. It was all we knew, and as a matter of fact, when he'd come home every night for dinner, we'd say, "Did we make the day, Dad?" Because we'd do a comparison year to date this year versus last year, and that was the first discussion at dinner. But what it really taught me more than that was the value of hard work. Myself and my siblings all worked in the store. We learned how to run a business, And it really taught us how to treat people with respect, and customers are always first, no matter the size or the scale of your business. But while this was all happening, both of my parents were teaching us the value of education. They were first generation to college in our family, and they were 100% committed to seeing myself and my siblings pursue our academic commitments, if you will. So I kind of knew two things as I was in high school and thinking about what steps I was going to take next. The first thing is I knew I definitely did not want to go into retail. I think we always look towards something else as parents, and I actually have a daughter who's a civil engineer working here in the district in construction. So something worked there as well. The second, though, which is what I had a passion for, I loved math and science. And I was fortunate, I excelled at it. And my teachers and my family saw this promise, and they saw this passion, and they said, Judy, you really should pursue engineering. I didn't know another engineer. I had no other corporate role models or anything in my family or extended family. But I took that advice and I followed that passion and went to Lehigh University. And I knew I'd gain a great foundation in engineering. But what I didn't know, and I've come to not only learn in college but throughout my life, is I learned a skill. I learned a skill that has guided me through almost 33 years of a career right now. I learned how to solve problems. And that's what STEM and engineering teaches you. With enough resources and enough time and with enough persistence, you can solve any problem. And as I reflect on these experiences, I realized something else. I realized the whole journey began with people who encouraged me and showed me a viable pathway. They showed me how I could take something that I was really interested in and translate that into new skills and new knowledge. And then it was up to me to apply it and to reduce it to practice as an engineer and then eventually as a business person and a leader. Without the guidance that was given to me, I have no idea if I'd honestly be standing here today. It was that important to surround yourself and to trust those around you and to listen to their advice. Without any doubt, my educational journey was the enabler for everything I've been able to accomplish in my career and in life. And while that's true for me, I sincerely believe that's true on a larger scale. The most consistent, proven way to get on a pathway to success in our society is through education. Today, that's through education beyond high school. Let me share with you a statistic in a report by Georgetown University's Center on Education and the Workforce. The center analyzed job losses during the Great Recession, and what they found was the vast majority of people impacted by job losses were workers who did not have a college degree. Then as the economy recovered, as jobs came back, more than 95% of new hires were workers who did have at least some college education. Some college education. Let's think about that for a second. Think about what that tells us. In today's economy, going to college and achieving the American dream are more tightly linked than ever before. And there has never been a moment in American history where education beyond high school was more necessary and more critical than today. And in light of that, that's why we're here today. We're here to have the Aspen Prize, and the purpose of the Aspen Prize is just so critical. Because if post-secondary education is that critical and that important, then it's important that everyone is truly aware of all, not just some, of the quality education options that exist in this room and throughout our nation beyond high school, including and perhaps especially the community colleges and the incredible people and the system we have, and those of you that are represented here today. As I heard Chelsea's story on the last panel, I did hear quite a bit of my own. I think we're both passionate about STEM and about engineering. We're both passionate about gender equity. Chelsea and I each have big dreams, and we both care very deeply about our families. And I want to emphasize one commonality. We are both college educated. And maybe our educational and professional journeys have been different so far, but ultimately the outcomes, they could be the same. Chelsea, like I was able to in my education, is now getting the combination of hands-on technical training and classroom experiences that are so important in today's economy, and so important to us at Siemens. This is not the ceiling, my friends, this is the floor. Chelsea is attaining the skills, knowledges, and credentials that will enable her, similar to my education, to go as far as she wants to go. Community colleges, especially those that build out STEM and technical training programs, do not just offer a great value proposition, they are a smart choice. And this is true for anyone in this nation, no matter your circumstances or your family background. Up to half of the middle skilled or skilled technical positions that are available or soon coming online can be obtained by earning that associate's degree or by completing training programs. And at Siemens, we value employees who attain these credentials. Our company is actually today building an operating system like many of you have in your smartphone, but we're building it for the industrial world. It's open source, and anyone, including any of you in this room, can write an app for it. And we think this serves as a powerful symbol, a symbol of the digital transformation that's sweeping across manufacturing in the industrial world. More and more US industry, whether it's smart grid, high advanced tech factory, will be run by workers who possess advanced technical training, who have STEM training, and who know how to use software. It'll be run by people like Chelsea, who are passionate about math and science, who like hands-on work, and who are doing what they choose to focus on, whether it be solar energy or other renewables, students who choose to make our world a better place. Some of our workers will also come from four-year universities. Some will come to us from community colleges, including those we've established apprentice partnerships with. The fact is, we're looking for workers with the right skills, period. And each and every day at Siemens here in the US, we have about 2,000 openings. And we look for workers who have those skills, period. So this connects to the final point I'd like to make with you today. My hope is that we can reach a point where approaches to pursuing post-secondary education aren't placed on pedestals. I hope we can reach a point instead where everyone begins to pursue their dreams, having all options on the table. So to our technical scholars in the room, I encourage you not only continue striving in your own work, but please help others pursue their dreams as well. Be a carrier, share your stories, illuminate your pathway for others so that they can follow. And to the representatives here from the community colleges being recognized, share your lessons as well. Share them with your peer institutions. Share them with anyone who will listen. We have to get the message out so that they can stand up similar programs and place a similar focus on student outcomes. To our public-private partners and to the leaders in government here with us today, together, let's continue to leverage these new partnerships that the Aspen Prize is inspiring us to form. We've identified a way and a path to get better student outcomes, to get better workers, and to enhance opportunity in this great nation. As part of this, we're getting more people to see community colleges for what they really are and for what you can continue to be, which is not just a place to get a great education, but as gateways to in-demand, well-paying, fulfilling professions. If we can scale this idea together, we can make a measurable difference in people's lives, and we can change the game in the 21st century. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Judy. Thanks for those powerful words and messages. I don't know if you all were thinking about this, but I was trying to imagine the conversation at their dinner table as kids. And then I was thinking about her and her daughter now as engineer. And she even mentioned, and then you invite Chelsea over? That would be a pretty sweet conversation. So thank you again for your remarks. Just as a reminder, as I see people still taking photos as you're sharing your tweets with the world, make sure you use the hashtag #AspenPrize. Now let's get ready for our second panel of the day, which is going to focus on transfer from a community college to a four-year university. As Joss mentioned earlier, we know that the vast majority of students who enter community college report wanting a bachelor's degree, but fewer than 20% ever get this done. You all here and the prize finalists in the room are showing the way for how this can be done better. And one of the shining stars in this regard is our friends from Broward College. To moderate a panel of Broward students and an advisor, let me welcome to the stage Bob Templin. Bob is a senior fellow in the College Excellence Program and the former president, as you all know, of Northern Virginia Community College. During Bob's 13-year tenure, Nova increased its enrollment by 18,000 students and doubled its graduation rate, with 80% of its student growth drawn from low-income, minority, and immigrant communities. At the same time, Nova's partnership with George Mason University grew through a guaranteed transfer admissions agreement and the launching of a special pathway to the baccalaureate program targeting first-generation college-goers, starting with students while they were still in high school. Today, more than 11,000 students are engaged in the pathway program, and the number of Nova transfer students attending Mason has doubled. Mason now accepts more transfer students than it accepts new freshmen. Join me in welcoming Bob, who's going to introduce our panelists for our second panel today.
Thank you, Juan. So today we're going to talk a little bit about transfer students and transfer success. And as has been mentioned several times already, the vast majority of community colleges start community college with the idea that they're going to transfer and earn a baccalaureate. But less than half, less than a quarter actually do transfer, and those that do transfer, not many complete the baccalaureate. But at Broward College, we have a high-performing college where that is stemming the tide and moving a different direction and showing other colleges how improvements in high performance can occur. And I'm blessed today to have two panelists from Broward to share their experience. One is Rachel James.
How are you?
Rachel is not only a former student from Broward, but she completed her Associate in Arts degree in 2015.
Yes.
And then transferred to Florida Atlantic University. And she's majoring in communications, going to graduate this spring, right?
Yes, I'm very excited. Thank you.
And like so many other community college students, has aspirations to continue her education even beyond that. She would like to become an academic advisor, grow in higher education as your profession,
Yes.
and hopefully become a dean of students sometime.
And then a college president, but you know,
All
baby
right.
steps.
We have a program for you at the Aspen Institute.
Not a problem.
So very happy to have you with us. Rachel's joined by Todd Westerfeld, who is an academic advisor at, actually a teaching counselor from Broward College, who came in
2004.
2004. So you've been there for a little while.
A little while now.
Todd has a job of meeting students at the front door and helping them on their journey to select appropriate career goals and educational programs, and then map those out and literally walk with them through that journey.
Absolutely.
And so Rachel, going to turn to you first and ask you, what was it, how did you find your way to Broward College, and what was it there that impressed you the most?
Right. Well, after high school, I had a lot of different hardships. My grandparents fell ill in our home country, and my father actually left to take care of them, leaving me to be the primary provider of my home. So I was really looking for a college that was affordable, that was close to home, and had a great program. And I found all of that at Broward College and more. And that was really what, led me to the college. And again, I was very involved and found such great support there. And I'm proud to say that I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college.
Well, and so how did you choose Florida Atlantic University? How did that happen?
Florida Atlantic University was also great. I've known about the institution because they're one of our sister schools. So I've been there before. I really like their programs as well. As I'm a communications major. And also, I think just that bridge between BC and FAU was really great because we had a special advisor just for that. So they kind of tell you everything about the school in general, and then they help you to, if you need a tour or anything like that. And they really just bridge that gap between the 2-year and the 4-year because it's very very easy to become, lost in the transition, especially when in my case, where I knew everyone in the department, and it was just very different for me. And I think they helped me really transition to the 4-year pretty seamlessly.
Was there a particular person or position that influenced you the most in that process?
At Broward College, it was my advisor, Juliet Turner, and also my career coordinator, which is Autumn Whitfield at Broward. And they've just always pushed me, no matter what, just kind of telling me that you can do this, because I'm always the kind of person to, be a little bit more reserved and say, like, maybe someone else should do this, but they were really, always championing for me and really, encouraging me to go out there and do my best.
Now, you had to go a long way to find Florida Atlantic University, didn't you?
Yeah, right across the street. Most of my classes were actually in the Boca area, which is a larger institution, which was a little difficult. Like, I only knew where my classes were in Starbucks, and that was it. And then I really got involved. I'm actually a part of the Transfer Student Association now, which is a fairly new department at FAU, which really helped me get acclimated to the 4-year institution a little bit more.
What was hard about transferring?
What was difficult was not being able to be as involved as I was in Broward College. I was an orientation leader. I was the coordinator for volunteering events and a student ambassador. Like I said, I knew at least one person in every department. So I think becoming a commuter student was very difficult for me. It kind of felt like I was just another student, just a number, until I got involved. I don't know, I just thought it was very strange for me just to go to class and then go home. And you miss out on the event there, you miss out on so much, because I took classes at night and online. So I think that was the most difficult thing for me going to FAU.
And did most of your college credits from Broward transfer?
Yes, all of them did. So I didn't have a problem with that at all.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, my advisors did such a great job, and I see my advisor every semester, maybe twice, so I'm like, sorry to bother you, but I just want to make sure that I'm on track, and I do that even with my FAU advisor as well. Like, I always want to make sure that I'm going in the right path and not, setting myself back.
And so you entered into communications. How did you choose that particular major? Was that something you came in knowing that you wanted to do?
Well, I looked at their programs and also saw that they had a lot of scholarships available for the communication studies, which was also a factor. I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to teach communications as well. And a lot of people say, oh, what do you want to do with that? That's like their first question for communication majors. And what can't you do with communications? It's everywhere. We need to know how to talk to people of different diversities and backgrounds and challenges. So I think that was really the push to, no matter where I go, if I have that skill, that I can, go anywhere with communications.
So if you were going to give advice to a new student at Broward who was thinking about transferring, what would that advice be?
My advice would be to get involved. I know it's a challenging process. I know that it's different and we don't always like change, but to get involved and to really, use your resources. Personally, I like to, people say, to find your mentor, and people have problems, for students at least, and we think that we need one person that's gonna be our everything. And that's really difficult, but what I would suggest is just to find key people in the community that have traits that you admire, that are in a position that you want to be in one day, and really say, hey, listen, I know you're busy, but if I could buy you a cup of coffee, if I can have 15, 20 minutes of your time, and really, see what their day-to-day is and see what advice they have for you. I think that's key, because as from a community college, we are so connected, and it's so amazing when I go to different events, like, oh, I know you from here, or I know you from there. It's a very, close-knit community, and I think that's important, because you never know, you need recommendations or some type of job opening, and it's great if someone has you in mind. So I think that's my advice for students.
We were supposed to have another student who couldn't be with us because of the weather, but I'm going to quickly tell his story because it exemplifies a distinctive student group that increasingly is at America's community colleges. This young man immigrated from Russia, not even knowing English, decided to go to Broward College, did incredibly well. He worked his way through, once he got his green card, he worked his way by being a valet. And as patrons were coming up to drop off their car, he would introduce himself and ask if he could get an internship with them. Well, he did, and he went into financial advising and actually had started a career then in financial advising, majored in economics, became a Jack Kent Cooke Scholar. And the reason that he can't be with us today is because he couldn't get a plane back to Providence in time for classes at Brown University, where he now studies. By the way, he challenged me, and I was going to challenge him. He's a world-class breakdancer, and I was going to have him do a little dance for us. But so tell Sergey that we missed him.
I will.
And best luck. Todd,
Yes.
We've heard over and over and over again the importance of someone being involved in the life of a student to help them feel like they belong and to help provide mentoring and guidance. Could you give us a little bit idea what the system at Broward is that helps new students there be so successful?
Sure. Well, I think what you mentioned right there, which is that relationship that you build, is one of the things we try to do, and we try to do that from beginning all the way through graduation and transfer. We meet with students for the first time as an advisor. We meet with them at the orientation, and we're working with them right then and there in terms of career, major, making sure we have those discussions with them at that point right off the bat, and of course helping them just get enrolled in their first semester and all those little things. During that orientation, our students select a major, or if they're not quite 100% sure on that major, they pick a pathway at that point. And then they are assigned to an advisor who works specifically with that pathway. So our advising office, we're all sort of assigned to different pathways that we specialize in. So students then have a follow-up meeting with that specific advisor, usually about 2 weeks after the orientation. They meet with them, and that's a really kind of critical meeting, because that is where we then begin kind of the formal process of creating an academic plan, or an educational plan as we call it, for them to move forward. So again, we're continuing the discussion at that point, sort of getting to know them more in terms of their major and career and all of that, and then really going over the program map, making sure they understand what all is involved with that, and individualizing that academic plan for them. As we know, students' lives are hectic and busy, and so not every student can do a full-time schedule. So we really tailor it for them, and that way they have kind of guidance as far as where they're going and what their next steps are down the road. So that meeting is really critical. We encourage students to always come back and see us whenever they need to, but in particular right now we are kind of moving forward, working on sort of what we call our checkpoints, which would be at 25% completion, 50%, 75% completion marks, where we're doing kind of check-ins to make sure. Rachel was an awesome student and would come in 2 times a semester, but some students don't do that. So we're trying to reach out and really get them to come in during those particular checkpoints so that we can make sure they're on the right path and not sort of deviating.
So I was on your campus not too long ago, and there was a real big push on the 75% group.
Yes.
Get them over the goal line, right?
Right.
So how's that going?
So that's done. It's interesting. We've tried some different things. So we reach out and try to get them, to come in and see us in our office. And there are always those students who sometimes tend to fall through the cracks for whatever reason. So we've started kind of going out into the campus and student life and other areas where we'll set up little shops where like we had a 75% checkpoint, and just to kind of grab students who maybe wouldn't normally come over and see us. And see them there and talk about, where are you at? What do we need to do, so that we can help you make it to completion.
Now, when students arrive, they're pretty clear about what their major is and where they want to transfer?
No. Some are very clear, and then many are not. Many are still in that undecided camp, and that's a lot of work that we do with them is discussing the pathways and what options are out there. You know, even a simple thing, what's the difference between an associate in science degree and an associate in arts degree? A lot of our students are first generation, first time in college, and don't know some of those things, and so we really have to start at the beginning, kind of with that sort of education of what we do. So that they can begin making those choices, you know.
So, and those that are very certain about their major, they've made that decision very rationally?
Usually, because we do when so, yes, I want to, I'm going to be a nurse, and that's what, we will have, we want to have that discussion. Okay, well, why is that, and what led you to that? And so we do, try to find out, because then yes, if maybe it's not the most rational choice, then we want to kind of explore that and see, what else we can come up with.
So what work at Broward is unfinished with regard to helping transfer students?
Well, I think, about a year and a half ago, we started working on our program maps, which have been a big help, I think, in advisement and for students, and those program maps, so that a student can come in and take that map and they know from beginning to end what courses they need in order to complete the associate's degree, but then to also successfully transfer, so that, like Rachel, when she moves on, all those credits are going with them. And so we started with about our top 30 majors and creating those, and we've created more now, but it really has taken kind of a college-wide effort between advisement and faculty and administration to be involved with those to make sure they're correct. And I foresee that we need to still work on creating more of those, because they have been such an important piece of what we do. And keep tweaking them. I think, even though we have kind of full-time and part-time maps set up for students, so we've tried to make them kind of as usable as possible, but, we could even make them more sort of specialized and specific in certain areas.
So we have a number of colleges here with us today, and many more that are watching this through a live stream. What advice would you give to colleges that want to improve the success of their students as transfer students?
As transfer students? I would say you have to start at the beginning with those conversations about major, of course, and career, and start those conversations about where, in that first semester, so where are you thinking about transferring to, so that we can start thinking and planning ahead. Helping students to think about, unfortunately, the consequences of what happens if I change my major in my last semester, and what does that mean as far as financial aid and the transferability of those credits, and so having those conversations with them, I think, is really important. Having the program maps on board has been very helpful. I was using them the other day with a student who wasn't sure on his major, but he knew he had sort of 3 choices that he was looking at, and I was able to grab the maps and go, okay, here they are, let's look at them. And so this was a great visual kind of for him, and he off the bat was already eliminating one of them based on the courses he was seeing, but at least that led to a conversation then. Why is that? Why are we getting rid of that one? And it really helps. And then, as Rachel was mentioning, with our institutions where a majority of our students transfer to, Florida International University and Florida Atlantic University, we have great partnerships with them, and having some of their advisors kind of in-house with us on campus to help students as we move them closer to transfer, I think, has been critical. I know that I've walked students over so that they can get some of their questions answered and help bridge that gap between the 2 institutions.
It may seem very strange, but given, particularly among first-generation college goers who don't know how to navigate the community college, without additional help, what makes us think that they can navigate the university?
Absolutely.
So having those partnerships and meeting with advisors from the university before they ever transfer,
yes,
that goes a long way in creating that bridge.
Absolutely.
Well, we've had an example of an outstanding institution that's made a very intentional effort to improve its transfer outcomes, and these are 2 reasons right here why you can see that they're successful. Please join me in thanking them.
All right, to the main event. We kept you waiting long enough. I'll shortly turn things over to George Miller, co-chair of the Aspen Prize Jury, to facilitate the recognition of all 10 finalists and ultimately the award of the Aspen Prize winner. First, I'd like to thank a group of exceptional individuals who served on the prize jury. After 16 months, you might imagine there's a lot of stuff we have. right? We have a lot of data. We come to visit all of the colleges over multiple days. We get data from state governments, from federal government, from institutions, from the National Student Clearinghouse, which provides us transfer data. And these folks diligently look through this, and they have varying degrees of expertise in community college data and operations, but all of them are really committed and terrific analysts. So I'd like to mention them specifically. Tom Bailey from the Community College Research Center. Obviously, he knows a lot about community colleges. You're all familiar with him. John Harvey, former admiral in the U.S. Navy, now with the state of Virginia. John, are you with us today? I know he had planned to come in. Martha Cantor, former Undersecretary of U.S. Department of Education, now with the College Promise Campaign. Martha's joined us here today. David Leonhardt from the New York Times, who writes periodically about social mobility and higher education. Shirley Malcolm from the American Association for the Advancement of Science, who thinks a lot about equity in STEM. Erica Miller from Isaacson Miller. John Schnurr from America Achieves, Juan, as you heard earlier, from PBS. And then, in addition to George Miller, who I'll introduce in a moment, Mitch Daniels, who is former governor of Indiana, now president of Purdue University. Mitch planned on being here today, but got stuck in the snow in Indiana, which is more than we see out here. So Mitch, if you're watching us, thank you for your leadership in this work. So how did we get to this point where we're ready to make this award? We start by looking at over 1,000 community colleges. Now, you all know there are 1,200 community colleges roughly in the country. David, is that about right? 1,100, okay. They're shrinking, I'm not sure. And we start by looking at about 1,050 of them. We eliminate some tiny institutions and single program institutions. And we then look at 4 areas over the course of 16 months. We're looking at learning. What evidence is there that students are learning at this college? We can't compare that across institutions as easily as we can graduation and some of these other metrics, but we're looking for evidence. All of these colleges are measuring student learning and assessing it and working to improve it. Second is degree completion of certificates and degrees at the community college, but also bachelor's degrees after students graduate. We also look at student employment and wages after students graduate. Did they get jobs? 1 year out and 5 years out. 5 years out is really important because if you transfer to a 4-year school, we don't expect to see you in the labor markets, right? 1 year after you graduate. And so we think it's important to look short and medium term. And then finally, and importantly, equitable outcomes along all of those metrics for underrepresented minority students, for Pell students, often for veterans and returning adults, are also looked at by many of these colleges. And we focus on both performance and improvement over time. What we're looking for are the colleges that have already achieved high levels, but also have a rapid growth and improvement, because really we want to inform the field about how to get better. After these 16 months of analysis, we believe that every one of the 10 finalists, and by the way, we have these 3 committees that all decide independently who will make it into the winner ultimately, but the 10 finalists were decided by 15 analysts who are among the leaders in community college assessment in the country. So I think everybody here today deserves our recognition, and from whom we've learned things, we will now synthesize what we've learned from you to give back to the field. So here's our plan. We're going to make first awards to the 5 institutions that are finalists that will not share in any of the prize funds, but are nonetheless, remember, this is 10 out of 1,000, right? That's 1%. Right, so let's recognize all of them. Each of them will be invited to the stage to accept an award and take a photo with George Miller. And then we will make awards to rising star candidates. These are the most rapidly improving among the finalists colleges, and then to finalists with distinction, and finally to the winner. So to take it from here, I'd like to invite my colleague and co-chair, Congressman George Miller, to the stage. Representative Miller was first elected to Congress for California's 7th District in 1974, where he served then for 40 years until his retirement recently. During his tenure in Congress, Representative Miller led really some of the most important efforts in my lifetime and all of our lifetimes to improve K-12 education and higher education, to make college more accessible, and also to make sure that we can close equity gaps in K-12. He's really a lion in the field of education and education policy. He happens to be a graduate of a community college, Diablo Community College in California. And I could talk about all of his accomplishments, but I think one of the most important recognitions we can have these days is from the other side of the aisle. And when Congressman Miller retired the year before last, Oklahoma Republican Representative Tom Cole stated the following: "He's got a remarkable legacy. I wish people that dislike Congress could meet someone like George Miller and just get to know him as a human being." We have been delighted to get to know George Miller a little bit better as a human being, in addition to all of his accomplishments, and welcome him to make the Aspen Prize Awards. Thank you.
This shouldn't take more than 3 or 4 hours. And I know that you're looking at the snow behind me. That's all artificial. We just did it for effect here at Aspen. You have the name Aspen, you have to have a snowfall. So this won't impede you on your way to the airport. God. But first of all, let me certainly thank Aspen for embarking on this journey that I think has put so much information and so much appreciation for our community colleges with this continuing conversation and the competition that all of you have participated in. And it really is about vision and excellence and the future of this country. When you think about all of the residents of this country that come through your doors and where they end up and how they participate, it's a remarkable story. You know, it was born in our communities. Out of rethinking where the country was going after the Second World War, and it wasn't unanimous that it should be done, but over time it's in all of our communities, and you know, every day these institutions fight social and economic inequities. They expand social and economic opportunities, and they prepare people for life. A lot of people don't come to community college prepared for life. I was, in those terms, in education, when back in the 60s, I was what they called a late bloomer. My wife says we're still waiting. But the fact is, it was your second chance, and it could change your life, and it did for me, and it has for so many other. And so I just want to express my appreciation for the community college systems in this country. And I want to express my appreciation and admiration for those who are on the selection committee, because we all took this very seriously, because I think we understand how important these institutions are to the social fabric and the economic fabric. You know, very often we've asked community colleges to be the rapid response team when things go to hell in the country. When the economy dies, people need new skills, new training, and this is the institution that responds. You're the rapid response for the country. And as I said, no matter what the conversation is in the country, it's addressed on community college campuses every day, all across this country, and it's improved, I think, our socialization in a big, dynamic nation like America. And I'm so proud of it, and so proud of all of you that participate. But now we have work to do. So we're going to begin with the 5 institutions, as Josh mentioned, who have done terrific work and will be recognized for their outstanding outcomes as finalists. That's an honor in and of itself for the Aspen Prize when you consider the competition and how widely people participated. Then we will make awards to 5 finalist colleges that are recognized as rising stars, finalists with distinction, and finally the winner of the 2017 Aspen Prize for the Community College Excellence. So we will begin. Our first finalist is Chaffey College in California. Chaffey is a beacon. Chaffey is a beacon of equity and achievement. Many Chaffey students are the first in their family to attend college. 88% require developmental education before they can pursue college-level work. Chaffey educates their students by rethinking education, both inside the classroom and in student advising. Every staff member and faculty are trained in helping students see themselves as capable of high levels of performance. These efforts have led to a strong first and second year retention rate. Furthermore, Chaffey works hard to ensure that education outcomes are equitable across student groups. The gap in its graduation rate between underrepresented students and others is 6%, about half of the gap in other community colleges nationally. And I would now like to invite to the stage the President, Henry Shannon.
On behalf of our great faculty and staff and our governing board, we thank the Aspen Institute and all of you because we are very pleased to be a part of this great movement in community colleges. So thank you very much. We're very honored.
Okay. Orders, orders, orders. You know, I used to be in Congress. I didn't have to take that stuff. Our next finalist will be Anoka Ramsey from Minnesota. With rigorous classroom education and strong ties to four-year universities, Anoka offers a range of liberal arts programs that prepare students to complete their bachelor's degrees after transferring. The college has a strong 56% three-year graduation and transfer rate compared to 39% nationally. And what's more, of Anoka students who transfer 50% complete the bachelor's degree within 6 years, well above the national average. And I would like to invite to the stage President Kent Hansen. Our next, excuse me. Yeah, excuse me. No. Yes, right. Our next finalist is Northeast Community College in Nebraska. Long a national model for workforce preparation, Northeast Community College has in recent years worked to offer a full set of liberal arts programs, expanding access to diverse students who attend the comprehensive community college. As it has made this transition, the college has not forgotten its roots, continuing to excel at preparing students for the changing workforce. 98% of Northeast 2015 graduates were employed or attending four-year universities, and graduates earn higher wages than those in the region. Furthermore, Northeast has an impressive 60% three-year graduation and transfer rate compared to 39% nationally. I'm using somebody else's notes. I'm sorry, I apologize. We may just stop for a second, we'll get this reorganized. These are in a, okay, excuse me, 1 second here. Okay. Furthermore, Northeast has an impressive 60% three-year graduation rate and the transfer rate compared to 39% nationally. And I'd like to invite to the stage President Michael Chips. Our next finalist is West Kentucky Community and Technical College. Many community colleges have systems to measure student learning outcomes, but few have taken that work as far as West Kentucky. Every course has a common assessment graded according to common rubrics. The faculty and the staff consistently track student learning and completion outcomes and use data to inform the improvements in teaching practices across programs of study. As thousands of jobs have left the region, West Kentucky has been a primary player in efforts to expand economic growth and providing high-tech customized training opportunities for growth areas such as marine technology, logistics, and operations management. These efforts have contributed to a 47% three-year graduation and transfer rate, 8% higher than the national average. We welcome to the stage President Anton Rees. They say members of Congress can't keep secrets. I was sitting at a table with all these people, you know. I said, I think I'm just going to get sick and go to my room. We will now announce 2 winners of this year's Rising Star Awards, each of which, excuse me, yes, of all, yes. Our next finalist is Pasadena City College in California. Yeah, come on. Located in Los Angeles, California, Pasadena serves a large, highly diverse student body, over 60% of whom attend part-time. The college has made significant advances in student retention in recent years due to its Innovative Pathways initiative. But what distinguishes Pasadena most is its transfer outcomes. Of students who transfer, 52% complete the bachelor's degree within 6 years of community college entry, 10 percentage points higher than the national average. The college leaders and faculty are now working hard to ensure that these strong success rates extend to more students through a number of thoughtful equity initiatives. I would like to invite to the stage for the presentation, President Rajen Verdeen. Next is Odessa. We will now announce 2 winners of this year's Rising Star Awards, each of which will receive a prize of $100,000. This award recognizes institutions that have demonstrated rapid improvement in student success. Our first Rising Star winner is Odessa College in Texas. Odessa is located in Texas oil drilling country where jobs have long been available to those with only a high school diploma. Odessa spent a lot of time before 2009 working to educate the surrounding community about the value of higher education and securing financing to rebuild its dilapidated infrastructure. At the start of this decade, Odessa turned its attention to what were then very low graduation rates. Seeing that students were more likely to complete shorter courses, the college switched all of its course offerings from 16 weeks to 8 weeks. Understanding that students need greater sense of belonging, Odessa trained all faculty and staff and strategically to connect with students and to hold expectations high. The result? Course withdrawals have declined enormously, recently hitting a record low of 1.8% in 2015. In spring of 2016, 40% of Odessa's faculty didn't lose a single student all semester. Amazing. Odessa's 3-year graduation and transfer rate has increased from 15% to 32% over just 5 years. I would like to invite to the stage President Gregory Williams. The second rising star is San Jacinto Community College. Located in the greater Houston area, San Jacinto works hard to extend access to a very diverse service area. The result is that the student body is over 50% underrepresented minority students, while this region is just under 30% minorities. The San Jacinto educators are both supported and held accountable for student success. Full-time department chairs work closely with faculty to examine data, guide them into developing strategies, and to improve student success. The result? College completions have risen from 29% in 2009 to 38% in 2015. At the same time, the college works closely with employers to connect students to good jobs in the rapidly growing fields of healthcare and petrochemical industries in and around Houston. Graduates of San Jacinto earn on an average $88,000 5 years after graduation, and 69, as opposed to others who earn $69,000 who work in the area. We welcome to the stage San Jacinto Chancellor Brenda Hellier. Brenda. Next, we will announce 2 finalists with distinction, each of which will receive a prize of $100,000. We call them finalists with distinctions because that is what they are. They set very high bars, execute plans to meet and then to exceed their own ambitions. Our first finalist with distinction is Indian River State College of Florida. Indian River is a shining example of how community colleges can be responsive to current and future workplace needs to the benefit of students in the community. The college has partnerships with more than 300 businesses, schools, public agencies, medical facilities to engage students in hands-on training and internships. The value of this work is demonstrated through very strong student outcomes. Graduation rates are 17% higher than the national average. Graduates earn an average of $43,000 5 years after graduation, 20% more than workers in the region. And now I would like to invite to the stage President Edwin Massey. Our second finalist with distinction is also from Florida, Broward College. Broward College is a shining example of how community colleges can enroll very diverse populations, prepare them incredibly well for four-year universities. 2/3 of the college's students are underrepresented minorities. Broward works hard to connect these students to four-year universities, in particular developing incredibly strong relationships with Florida International. By creating a clear 2+2 program, the program which maps and a very strong transfer advising, Broward has achieved incredible successes. Specifically, 42% of Broward students transfer to a four-year school, 18 percentage points higher than the national average. And nearly half of those students attain a bachelor's degree within 6 years after entering community college, well above the national average. Because Broward understands that so many of its students struggle financially, it has successfully worked hard to hold down the level of student debt so that students will have the means to complete their bachelor's degree after they leave. I would like now to welcome to the stage President David Armstrong. And now, let us recognize the winner of the 2017 Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence, which will receive $600,000 of the overall $1 million prize purse. And the winner is La La Land. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I asked Siri last night if you could successfully retell that joke, and she went, "I'm sorry, I don't understand." So I took a gamble. Anyway, the winner is Lake Area Technical Institute of Watertown, South Dakota. Lake Area Technical Institute has been a finalist with distinction each of the 3 cycles of the Aspen Prize. This 2-year technical college boasts a graduation rate of 67%, then more than twice the national average. This incredible success rate is fueled by Lake Area's highly structured programs and hands-on educational approach. Just as impressively, students from Lake Area get jobs at very high rates and earn an average of 27% more income more than 1 year after graduating than other hires in the region. With student success rates like those, Lake Area could have easily rested, knowing that it was serving its students well. But the hallmark of our nation's best community colleges, like Lake Area, is that they constantly aim to improve. So even though it is a technical college, Lake Area knows from its data that nearly 1 in every 4 of their students transfer. So it is working with state universities to ensure that more credits are eligible for transfer. And Lake Area has been persistent in closing the largest equity gap. It has in recent years cut in half the gap of graduation rates between nearly half the students who receive Pell Grants and those who don't. Lake Area Tech embodies the kind of high performance and continuous improvement that translates into excellence. We are proud to name Lake Area Technical Institute the winner of this year's Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence, and welcome to the stage President Michael Cardney. Thank you.
We're glad you invited the snow for us. First, what I wanted to do was I wanted to first acknowledge our sponsors. You know, the Joyce Foundation, the Siemens, Pearson, and Kresge, just outstanding. And they do more than just sponsor this event. They're always championing for student success, and I think we should give them another round of applause. I also want to acknowledge the selection jury and Aspen staff, because this is just a daunting task and they do it so well. So if you'd join me in a round of applause for them also. If you would allow me just one liberty, in this moment, my thought and hearts really go back to the faculty, staff, and students of Lake Area Tech. Their hard work and dedication and innovation epitomize our motto that it's not about being the best, it's about doing our best. We couldn't be prouder of each and every one of them, and this award is truly theirs. My thoughts also go to the community of Watertown, our board, Superintendent Judding, whose outstanding leadership enables Lake Area Tech to push the bounds. To the vibrant, supportive communities all across, and industry partners across South Dakota that make Lake Area Tech such a magical place. And if you've never been there, please come, because we really like to show off what our industry does for us. But Governor Dugard, all the state agencies, our legislature, and all of our champions, there's just too many to name, really do go the extra mile to make South Dakota one of the best places in the nation to live, work, and learn. This past 8 years has been quite a journey for us. When you're in a competition like this, Aspen really puts a light on you. And, you know, usually its headlights kind of help you see where it's going, but sometimes it feels like one of those big interrogation lights just burning down on you. So, but it helped us see where we needed to improve. We knew that pathway, that college is a pathway, it's not a destination. And we knew that over almost 50% of our students, for them, it's the road out of poverty. But Aspen is the project that put the light on the fact that we weren't serving them as well as our other students. But everybody has data and tools to tell you who's at risk and who needs extra attention. It's what you do with that data and how you respond to that data that determines what your success will be. So in 30 seconds, our response was, redefine success as placement, not graduation, because it made college more relevant for our students. We avoided labeling students because low-income students a lot of times already have a mindset about their position. We ensure students know and understand the pathways to success, and we set clear expectations for them. And we emphasize that every employee at Lake Erie Tech is part of our student success. What we did then is we wrapped that in what we call our culture of caring. We care about our students, but more importantly, we let them know that we care about them. We believe in our students, and we let them know that we believe in them. And we listen to our students, and we let them know that we're listening. These principles may sound self-evident to a lot of people, but unless they're highlighted, they're often overlooked. And we believe it's that wrapping that made a road that was previously less traveled seem achievable, and even a journey worth taking to even more of our students. At a time when the conversation could have went many different directions, the engagement and the work of the Aspen Institute, and specifically the Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence, changed the national dialogue for community colleges in a powerful and positive way. The Aspen Prize highlights the key roles colleges play in workforce readiness as well as continuing education. It's driving conversations around the good things that community colleges are going on in community colleges across this nation. One thing is categorically undeniable about an outcome for the direction this competition has taken all of us. Through this process, we're moving from 1,100 community colleges individually striving for excellence towards 1,100 community colleges working together to help our students, to better our communities, and to raise our nation. The future is not 1,100 colleges each striving to be the best. The future is 1,100 community colleges working together to do our best. Again, I want to thank the Aspen Institute, the sponsors of the Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence, the selection committee, but most of all, I want to congratulate each and every college in here for being a top 10 finalist. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of the schools, and thank you so much for allowing me to participate. Thank you.
Thanks again to everyone for coming to the 2017 Aspen Prize ceremony. As prize jury members, we all talked about that the best part of what we saw was the hope that we gained from hearing all of your stories. So as Ellen mentioned earlier, your colleges serve as an inspiration. Please join us in telling your stories and all of our stories so that more students can benefit from the incredible work that you're getting done. As we finish our program for today, I would like to invite all the finalist institution presidents to the stage for a few photographs. To everyone else, please enjoy your snow day. We are now finished with our program. Thank you.